The mining drill stopped working again. Nari wiped sweat from her face and kicked the broken machine. She was tired of fixing things that broke every day on this distant planet. The colony of New Haven had been her home for 3 years now, but it still felt like a prison made of metal walls and endless red dust. Another drill down, she called to Wubin, the chief engineer. He was working on a water pump nearby, his weathered hands covered in grease. "That makes for this week," Wubin said with a heavy sigh. "These machines were not built for this planet. The dust gets into everything." Nari nodded. Everything. On Kepler 4-4 to be seemed designed to make human life difficult. The air was thin, the ground was hard, and strange storms came without warning. The red soil contained valuable minerals, which was why they were here, but it also destroyed their equipment. She grabbed her toolkit and walked toward the broken drill. The mining site was at the edge of the colony, near the crystal caves that stretched deep underground. Most colonists avoided the caves. Strange sounds came from inside them at night. Some people said dangerous animals lived there. Nari was not afraid of the caves. She had lost her fear of many things after the transport crash that killed her parents 2 years ago. Now she lived with her older brother Tejo, who worked as the colony's security chief. He worried about her too much. The drill had stopped because its power cable was damaged. Nari followed the cable toward the cave entrance to find the break. The cable disappeared into a crack in the rock wall. She would need to go inside to fix it. She grabbed her flashlight and squeezed through the narrow opening. The cave was cool and quiet. Blue crystals grew from the walls, giving off a soft light. The air smelled different here, cleaner somehow. Nari found the damaged cable after walking for 10 minutes. As she knelt to repair it, she heard something that made her freeze. It was breathing. Slow, deep breathing that was too large to come from any human. She turned off her flashlight and listened. The breathing continued, coming from deeper in the cave. Knew she should leave immediately and tell Tahoe about it, but that would be the smart thing to do. Instead, she moved toward the sound. The cave opened into a large chamber filled with crystal formations, and there, trapped under a fallen stone beam, was something that should not exist. The creature was huge, at least 12 feet tall. Its body was covered in black scales that seemed to absorb light. Strange markings on its skin glowed with a blue light that matched the crystals. It had 4 arms and legs built like tree trunks. Its head was long and narrow, with amber eyes that looked directly at her. Nari should have screamed. She should have run. But something in those eyes stopped. They were not the eyes of a monster. They were the eyes of something intelligent, something hurt, something alone. The creature made a low sound, not threatening, but almost like a question. It was asking her something. "You are trapped," Nari said quietly. She did not know why she spoke to it. The creature's glowing markings pulsed brighter for a moment. Its amber eyes never left her face. One of its arms was pinned under the stone beam. Nari could see dark liquid on the ground. It was bleeding. She took a step closer. The creature did not move to attack her. Instead, it made that questioning sound again, softer this time. "I could help you," Nari said, "but I do not know if I should." The creature tilted its head, as if it understood her words. This was impossible. Humans had been exploring space for 200 years and had never found intelligent alien life. Yet here was something that clearly understood her. Nari heard voices from outside the cave. The workday was ending. Soon Tejo would come looking for her. "I have to go," she told the creature, "but I will come back." She turned to leave, then stopped. The creature had made a different sound, sadder somehow. When she looked back, it was still watching her with those amber eyes. Nari ran back through the cave and squeezed out through the crack. Wubin was waiting for her with a worried expression. "Where have you been? Your brother is looking for." The power cable was damaged inside the cave," Nari said. "I fixed it. You went into the caves alone. That was not smart. We do not know what lives in there." Nari looked back at the cave entrance. "No, we do not know." The evening the colony held its weekly meeting in the main hall. 53 people lived in New Haven, all working to extract minerals and send them back to Earth. Colony Administrator Sojin ran the meetings with military efficiency, production is down again this week, Sojin announced. We need to do better, or Earth will send us less supplies. People complained about broken equipment and power failures. The usual problems of frontier life. Nori sat in the back and only half listened. She kept thinking about the creature in the cave. After the meeting, Taeho walked her home. He was 6 years older than her and took his job as her guardian seriously. Sometimes too seriously, Ubin said. You went into the caves today, he said. That was dangerous. I had to fix the power cable. You should have asked for help. We do not know what is in those caves. Nari stopped walking. What if there was something in the caves? Something intelligent? Taeho frowned. What do you mean? Just a question. What would we do if we found dangerous aliens? We would eliminate the threat and protect the colony. But what if they were not dangerous? Nari, where is this coming from? She looked at her brother's concerned face. He was a good man who cared about keeping people safe. But he would not understand about the creature not yet. Just wondering, she said. That night, Nari lay in her bed and stared at the ceiling. She could not stop thinking about the amber eyes and the questioning sounds. The creature was intelligent. It was hurt. It was alone. Just like her, she made a decision that would change everything for the colony of New Haven. Tomorrow she would go back to the caves. She would help the trapped creature, even if no one else believed it deserved help. The girl would speak of the beast as kin, though none would believe her, not yet. Nari woke up before dawn. She had barely slept, thinking about the creature trapped in the cave. While Taeho was still sleeping, she packed food and water in her work bag. She also took her portable heater and some medical supplies. The colony was quiet at this early hour. Only the night security guards were awake, and they were used to seeing Nari start work early. She walked to the mining site and slipped into the cave entrance. The creature was still there, still trapped under the stone beam. Its glowing markings were dimmer now, pulsing slowly like a weak heartbeat. When it saw her, the markings grew brighter. I brought food, Nari said softly. She pulled out a protein bar and held it up. The creature made that questioning sound again. It tilted its head and looked at the food. Nari broke off a piece and placed it on the ground near the creature's free hand. The creature reached out, slowly, and picked up the food, sniffed it, then ate it carefully.
We're hungry,
Nari said. How long have you been trapped here? The creature made different sounds now. They were not random noises. They had patterns like it was trying to communicate. Nari sat down on a rock nearby. I wish I could understand you. The creature stopped, making sounds, and stared at her. Then something strange happened. Nari felt a warm feeling in her mind, like someone was gently touching her thoughts. Images appeared in her head. Not her own memories, but something else. She saw space, filled with stars she did not recognize. She saw a green planet with 2 moons. She saw creatures like the one in front of her, but they were walking freely, working together. Building things, the images faded. Nari blinked and shook her head. Did you just show me something? She asked. The creature's markings pulsed brighter. It made a soft sound that almost sounded like agreement. Nari felt excited and scared at the same time. This was definitely not a simple animal. This was someone who could share thoughts and memories. I have to go to work now, she said, but I will come back tonight. She left more food and water where the creature could reach them. She walked away. She felt that warm touch in her mind again. This time it felt like gratitude. The workday seemed to last forever. Nari repaired equipment and helped with the mining, but her thoughts kept returning to the cave. She wanted to tell someone about the creature, but who would believe her? During lunch break, she sat with Hyjin, the colony's xenobiologist. Hyjin was one of the few people who might understand. Hyjin, what would you say if someone found an intelligent alien on this planet? Hyjin almost choked on her food. That would be the greatest discovery in human history. Why do you ask? Just curious. You think intelligent aliens exist? I hope so. The universe is too big for humans to be alone. But we have not found any proof yet. Nari nodded. She wanted to tell Hyjin everything, but something held her back. She needed to understand more about the creature first. That evening, Nari returned to the cave with more supplies. The creature seemed stronger. It had eaten all the food she left and was watching the cave entrance when she arrived. Hello again, Nari said. She sat down in the same spot as before. The creature made welcoming sounds. Then it did something that surprised her. It began to hum. The sound was deep and musical, with a pattern that repeated itself, Nari found. Herself humming along, she had always been good with music. The creature's humming changed, becoming more complex. Nari tried to follow the melody. When they hummed together, something amazing happened. The warm feeling in her mind became stronger. More images appeared, clearer this time. She saw the creature's species living with humans on that green planet. The humans looked different, wearing strange clothes, but they were definitely human. The creatures and humans worked together, built cities together, lived as friends. Then the images became darker. She saw ships in space fighting. She saw the green planet burning. She saw creatures and humans running in different directions. Separated by war and fear, the humming stopped. Nari felt tears on her face. "You lost your home," she said quietly. "You lost your friends." The creature reached out with its free hand. Nari hesitated, then reached out and touched its fingers. They were warm and surprisingly gentle. More images flowed between them. She saw the creature traveling through space for a very long time, searching for something, following signals that led from planet to planet, always looking, never finding. "We're looking for humans," Nari realized. "You were looking for us?" The creature made a sound that was almost like crying. In the shared images, Nari felt its loneliness. Decades of traveling alone, hoping to find the species it once called family. "How long have you been searching?" she asked. The images showed her star charts, planets, years passing, too many years to count easily. "Over 100 years," Nari whispered. "You have been alone for over 100 years." They sat together in silence. Nari understood now why the creature's eyes had looked familiar. They held the same loneliness she felt after losing her parents. "I know what it feels like to be alone," she said. "But you are not alone anymore." The creature's markings pulsed. In a pattern that felt like relief and hope, Nari spent 3 more hours in the cave. The creature shared more memories with her. She learned that its species was called something that translated roughly to harmony singers. They had lived with humans long ago, before the great wars that scattered both species across the galaxy. The creature had a name too, but it was more like a musical note than a word. Nari decided to call it Kithara, which meant harmony in the old Korean language her grandmother had taught her. When she finally left the cave, Nari felt different. She was no longer just a lonely girl fixing broken machines on a distant planet. She was the first human in over a century to speak with a harmony singer. She was the bridge between 2 species that had once been family. But as she walked back to the colony, she saw Dong-Su and 3 other colonists talking in worried voices. Near the main hall, they looked upset about something. "Livestock," Dong-Su was saying. 3 animals missing in 2 days. Something is hunting near the colony." Nari's heart sank. She knew the colonists would blame any missing animals on the creature in the cave. They would want to hunt it down and kill it. She had to protect Kithara. But first, she had to find out what was really taking the animals. The girl who spoke of the beast as kin would need to prove that her new friend was innocent of any wrongdoing. Nari could not sleep that night. She kept thinking about the missing animals and what the colonists would do if they found Kithara. She got up early and went to check on the livestock before anyone else was awake. 2 more animals were gone. The fence around the animal pen had been torn open, but not by human hands or tools. Deep claw marks scraped the metal posts. Nari knelt down and examined the ground. The footprints were wrong. They were too small to belong to Kithara. "Are you doing here so early?" Nari jumped and turned around. Taeho was walking toward her with his security equipment. "I heard about the missing animals," she said. "I wanted to see what happened." Taeho looked at the damaged fence and frowned. Something with claws did this. Something big. But not too big, Nari said quickly. "Look at the footprints. They're smaller than a person." Her brother knelt down and studied the tracks. "You were right, but what could do this? We have never seen predators this large on the planet." Nari felt relief. The tracks were definitely not from Kithara, but she also felt worried. If something else was hunting near the colony, it could be dangerous for everyone. More colonists arrived as the morning work shift began. Dong-su was the loudest voice, as usual. I told everyone we should have explored those caves months ago, he said angrily. Something dangerous is living in there, and it is getting bolder. We do not know the creature came from the caves, Wu-bin said calmly. Where else could it come from? We checked this whole area before we built the colony. There were no large predators then. Fujin arrived and took control of the situation. We need to organize search teams. If there is a dangerous animal near the colony, we need to find it and deal with it. I volunteer to lead a team, Dong-su said immediately. Nari felt panic rising in her chest. If Dong-su went into the caves with weapons, he would find Cathara, and he would not ask questions before shooting. I think we should be careful, she said. We do not know what we are dealing with. Dong-su turned to look at her. Careful. The thing killed 5 of our animals. What if it decides to attack people next? We do not know if it killed them, Nari argued. Maybe it was just hungry. Maybe we can find a way to scare it off without hurting it. Several colonists stared at her strangely. Orcs. Dong-su's eyes narrowed. You sound like you are defending this creature, he said. Why would you care about something that is threatening our survival? Nari realized she had said too much. I just think we should be smart about this. Rushing in with weapons might make things worse. Taeho put his hand on her shoulder. Nari is right. We should scout the area first and understand what we are facing. Sojin nodded. Agreed. Take 2 people and check the area around the caves. Do not engage anything dangerous. Just gather information. Nari felt a little better, but not much. Even a scouting mission could find Cathara. That afternoon, she slipped away from work and went to the cave. She needed to warn Cathara about the danger. She found the creature trying to move the stone beam that trapped it. Cathara had managed to shift it slightly, but it was still pinned. People are looking for you, Nari said urgently. They think you are the one taking our animals. Their mental connection, she shared images of the damaged fence and the colonists' anger. Cathara responded with confusion and sadness. The creature showed her its own memories of the past few days. It had not left its cave. It had been eating only the food Nari brought. I know you were innocent, Nari said, but I have to convince the others. Can you show me what is really taking the animals? Cathara's markings pulsed thoughtfully. Then it shared new images with her. These were not memories, but something else. Cathara could sense other living things in the area through some kind of mental ability. Nari saw the real predators through Cathara's senses. They were native animals that lived deep underground. The mining operations had disturbed their territory, forcing them to come to the surface to hunt. They were about the size of large dogs, with rocky skin that helped them blend with the landscape. Rock hunters, Nari whispered. They live in the deep caves. Cathara showed her where the creatures were hiding during the day. They had made a nest in an old mining tunnel about a mile from the colony. I have to tell the others, Nari said. This will prove you are innocent. But as she prepared to leave, she heard voices outside the cave. Male voices coming closer. The tracks lead. This way, someone said. Stay alert, came Teo's voice. We do not know what we are dealing with. Nari felt terror. If they found Cathara now, they would see it as proof that the creature was the threat. They would not listen to explanations about rock hunters. She looked at Cathara desperately. The creature seemed to understand the danger. It made urgent sounds and showed her images of her leaving through a different cave passage. I cannot leave you, she whispered. Cathara sent her feelings of determination and sacrifice. It would rather die than let her get hurt. The voices were getting closer.
Nari?
Had no choice. She squeezed through a narrow passage that led to a different exit, tears streaming down her face. She emerged from the caves just as Teho's team entered through the main entrance. Nari ran back toward the colony, her mind racing. I'd find proof about the rock hunters before the search team found Kythara at the colony. She went straight to Haichin's laboratory. I need to talk to you, Nari said urgently. It is about the missing animals. Haijin looked up from her computer. What about them? I think I know what is really taking them. But you have to promise to listen to everything I tell you. Of course, what did you find? Nari took a deep breath. This was the moment when everything would change. She was about to trust someone with the truth about Cathara. There is something I have been hiding, she began. Something important. Before she could continue, shouts came from outside. Then screaming. Both women ran outside to see what was happening. Near the animal pens, young Kung Su was on the ground, bleeding from deep cuts on his arms and legs. Two of the rock hunters were standing over him, their stone-like skin making them almost invisible against the ground. The creatures were exactly as Cathara had shown her. But seeing them attack a person was terrifying. Get weapons, Dongsu shouted. Everyone get weapons. The rock hunters heard the shouting and ran toward the caves. In their panic to escape, they ran directly toward the cave where Cathara was trapped. Nari realized with horror what was about to happen. The search team would find Cathara at the same time the real predators arrived. In the confusion and fear, they would blame everything on the innocent creature. She ran toward the caves as fast as she could, but she was too late. Gunshots echoed from the cave entrance. Then more shouting. When Nari reached the cave, she found Teho and his team backing out of the entrance, their weapons ready. There was something huge in there, one of them said, his voice shaking. It attacked those smaller creatures, but then it looked at us. Did you shoot it? Nari asked desperately. We fired warning shots, Teho said. It did not attack us, but it is definitely dangerous. Look at the size of it. Nari pushed past them and ran into the cave. She found Cathara still trapped under the stone beam, but now there were two dead rock hunters nearby. The creature had somehow killed them even while pinned down. Kithra's markings were pulsing weakly. It had been injured fighting the rock hunters. Through their mental connection, Nari felt its pain and exhaustion. You saved Kung Su, she said softly. You killed the things that hurt him. But when she emerged from the cave to tell the others, she found them preparing for war. Dong Su had arrived with more armed colonists. That monster killed those creatures to protect its territory, he announced. It sees us as invaders. We have to kill it before it kills us. No one would listen to Nari's explanations. They had seen Cathara surrounded by dead predators and assumed the worst. Fear had made them blind to the truth. The girl who spoke of the beast as kin was about to watch her only friend die for trying to protect them. Nari stood between the armed colonists and the cave entrance. Her heart was beating so fast she could barely breathe, but she would not move. Get away from there, Nari, Dongsu ordered. That thing is dangerous. No, she said firmly. Are wrong about everything. We saw it kill those creatures, another colonist said. It is a predator. It saved Kyungsu's life, Nari shouted. Those smaller creatures were attacking him. The big one killed them to protect him. Teho stepped forward, his weapon lowered. Nari, what are you not telling us? How do you know so much about this creature? Nari looked at her brother's concerned face. There is no more time for secrets, because I have been talking to it. For 3 days, it is intelligent. It can share thoughts and memories. And it is not our enemy. The colonists stared at her in shocked silence. Then several of them started talking at once. She has lost her mind. The creature did something to her brain. We need to get her away from that thing. Listen to me. Nari pleaded. I can prove what I am saying. The creature showed me things, ancient things. Humans and its species used to live together. Dong-su laughed harshly. Fairy tales. It have been alone too much, girl. That monster has confused you. Somehow, But Wu Bin was listening carefully. What kind of things did it show you, Nari? Memories. Cities where humans and these creatures worked together, ships in space, a war that separated them, has been searching for humans for over 100 years. That is impossible, Sojin said. Humans have never encountered intelligent alien life. Maybe we forgot, suggested Haijin quietly. She had arrived with the medical team to help Kyung-soo. Maybe the records were lost. Wu Bin's eyes lit up suddenly. The archives. Nari, you said ancient memories. How ancient? Very old. 4. Humans spread across the galaxy. Wu Bin turned to Sojin. We should check the historical archives. The deep files from Earth. If there is any truth to this, there might be records. This is wasting time, Dong-Su said angrily. While we talk, that monster is planning its next attack. Give me 1 hour, Nari begged. 1 hour? To prove I am right. If I cannot show you proof, I will step aside. Taeho looked torn between protecting his sister and protecting the colony. Finally, he nodded. 1 hour. But you stay away from that cave until we know the truth. The colonists returned to the main settlement. Wu Bin and Hajin went to the computer center to search the archives. Nari paced back and forth, worried about Kithra's injuries. After 30 minutes, Wu Bin came running out of the computer center, his face pale with excitement. I found something, he announced. Everyone needs to see this. The colonists gathered in the main hall. Wu Bin connected his computer to the large display screen. These are files from the original Earth archives, he said, hidden in the deep. Historical records. Most people never see them because they are classified as mythology. The screen showed images of ancient Earth, but these were not normal historical photos. They showed humans working alongside creatures that looked exactly like Kithera. The harmony singers Wu Bin read from the files. A species of empathic beings who formed partnerships with human colonies during the early expansion period. They served as guardians and guides, using their mental abilities to help humans adapt to alien worlds. The colonists stared at the screen in amazement. Nari felt tears of relief on her face. What happened to them? Ajin asked. Wu Bin scrolled through more files. A war. The Void War, it was called. An alien invasion that scattered human colonies. Across the galaxy, harmony singers were separated from their human partners. Most people assumed they were all killed. But some survived, Nari said quietly. They have been searching for us ever since. Sojin stood up slowly. If this is true, then the creature in the cave is not a threat. It's a refugee. A survivor looking for its lost family. It is more than that, Nari said. It is trying to come home. Dong-Su was still not convinced. These could be fake files, or stories made up by ancient people. But Dr. Na, the colony's archaeologist, was studying the images carefully. The technology shown here matches artifacts we have found on several colony worlds. Structures that we thought were built by unknown aliens. They were built by humans and harmony singers working together. More evidence came from an unexpected source. Jamin, the communications officer, ran into the hall with exciting news. I have been getting strange signals for the past week, he announced. I thought they were equipment problems, but I just figured out what they are. They are messages. In a language that matches the mathematical patterns in these historical files. Messages from who? Sojin asked. Other harmony singers? They are responding to something, like they are being called. Nari felt a warm feeling in her mind. Even from a distance, Kithara was trying to contact its own kind. The creature was not just looking for humans, it was calling to other survivors. There are more of them out there, she said with wonder. Kithera is not the last one. Elder Su-young spoke up from the back of the room. My grandmother used to tell stories. Old stories from Earth, about the star friends who helped humans reach the sky. I thought they were just fairy tales. All our fairy tales might be memories, Wu Bin said quietly. The mood in the room was changing. Fear was being replaced by curiosity and hope. But they still had a practical problem, even if all this is true, Sojin said. The creature is still trapped and injured. What do we do about that? We help it, Nari said immediately. We free it and tend to its wounds. We welcome it home. And then what? Dong-Su asked. It is still a dangerous alien creature. It is family, Nari said firmly. And family takes care of each other. But before anyone could respond, alarms started blaring throughout the colony. Jamin was listening to his communication equipment with a terrified expression. Long-range sensors are picking up multiple contacts, he announced. Large ships coming toward our planet. They will be here in less than 6 hours. Rescue ships. From Earth? Someone asked hopefully. J-Min shook his head. The energy signatures are wrong. These are not human ships. So Jin went pale. Are we being invaded? Nari felt cold fear in her stomach, but also something else. Through her connection with Cathara, she sensed urgent thoughts and images. The creature knew what was coming. We need to get to Cathara right now, she said. It knows about these ships. It can help us. Help us how? Tejo asked. The way its species always helped humans, Nari replied. By fighting beside us. The girl who spoke of the beast as kin would soon discover that her friend was not just a refugee or a guardian. It was humanity's last, against an ancient enemy. The entire colony rushed to the cave entrance. Fear had united them in a way that Nari's words could not. When people faced death together, old arguments seemed foolish. Nari was the first to reach Cathara. The creature was weaker than before, its glowing markings dim and flickering. But when it sensed her presence, it tried to sit up straighter. What is coming? She asked urgently. Through their mental connection, Cathara shared terrifying images. Ships shaped like black crystals, filled with beings made of living stone. The Vorthok swarm, enemies from the ancient war that had scattered humans in harmony. Singers across the galaxy, they followed the signals, Nari realized. When you called to the other harmony singers, the Vorthok heard it too. Cathara sent feelings of regret and determination. It did not meant to bring danger to the humans. But now it would do whatever was necessary to protect them. Tahoe and Wubin arrived with tools to move the stone beam. Working together, they managed to lift it enough for Cathara to pull its trapped arm free. The creature stood slowly, towering over all of them. Many colonists took nervous steps backward. Even knowing the truth about Cathara, its size was frightening, but Nari walked right up to it and placed her hand on its arm. Thank you for protecting Kyung-Soo, she said. And we need your help to protect everyone. Cathara made musical sounds that felt like acceptance and determination. Sojin took charge of the situation. How long until the enemy ships arrive? 5 hours and 30 minutes, Jamin called from his portable communicator. What are our defenses? Captain Hunky asked. He was the colony's military advisor, recently arrived from Earth. 2 small defense turrets and some mining explosives, Tejo replied grimly. Against multiple ships, we have no chance. The evacuation ships will not arrive for 3 days, Sojin added. We are on our own. Captain Hunky studied Cathara. Carefully, you said this creature can help us fight. How? Nari looked at Cathara, then back at the captain. It can connect our minds, like a network. We could fight as one unit instead of 50 separate people. That sounds like mind control, Dongsu said suspiciously. Not control, cooperation. Nari tried to find the right words to explain. When Cathara shares thoughts with me, I am still myself. But I can also sense what it is thinking and feeling. If it connected all of us, we could coordinate perfectly. Youngmin, one of the colony's pilots, stepped forward. I volunteer to try it. If there is a chance to save the colony, I want to help. Myung, a civilian leader, nodded agreement. If this creature risked its life to save Kung-Su, I trust it to help save all of us. One by one, other colonists volunteered. Even Chang Ho, who had been one of Dongsu's supporters, decided to join them. This is madness, Dongsu protested. We are trusting our lives to an alien monster. That alien monster is the only reason we have any chance at all, Tejo said firmly. I trust my sister's judgment, and I trust her friend. Nari felt grateful, tears in her eyes. Her brother had called Cathara her friend. Cathara began to hum the same musical tones Nari had heard in their first conversation. Other colonists joined in, following the melody instinctively. As they hummed together, Nari, felt the warm presence in her mind expanding to include more people. One by one, the volunteers joined the mental network. At first, it was confusing. Nari could sense other people's thoughts and emotions mixing with her own. Gradually, it became more natural. She could feel Youngmin's excitement about flying, Myung's determination to protect the children, Woobin's practical knowledge of the colony's systems, Captain Hunky's tactical experience. All of their skills and knowledge were available to everyone in the network. "This is incredible," Youngmin said out loud. But Nari also felt his amazement directly through the connection, through Kithara's senses. They could perceive the approaching enemy ships more clearly than any radar could show them. The Vorthok swarm consisted of 12 large ships and dozens of smaller fighters. They moved in perfect formation, like a school of predatory fish. "They are coming to harvest the planet," Captain Hunky said grimly. "The Vorthok strip mine entire worlds, killing everything that lives there." "Why now?" Sojin asked. "Why this planet?" Through the network, Kithara shared ancient memories. The Vorthok had been searching for surviving harmony singers for centuries. They wanted to eliminate the species that had once helped humans resist their expansion. "They are not just here to destroy the colony," Nari realized. "They are here to kill Kithara. Then we protect it," Teho said simply. "It is family now." The colonists spent the next 4 hours preparing for battle. But their preparations were different from anything humans had ever done before. Instead of individual soldiers following orders, they worked as a single organism with many parts, through the mental network. Everyone knew exactly what everyone else was doing. There was no confusion, no wasted effort, no miscommunication. Youngmin and the other pilots prepared their small ships, but they could feel the tactical knowledge of Captain Hunky guiding their planning. The engineers, led by Woobin, modified their mining equipment into weapons. Drawing on memories that Kithara shared from ancient battles, even the children helped, carrying supplies and messages with perfect coordination. 1 hour until contact, Jamin announced. The Vorthok ships appeared in the sky like black stars, growing larger by the minute. Nari could feel the fear of her fellow colonists through the network, but also their determination. They were no longer just 50 people trying to survive on a hostile planet. They were a family, fighting together to protect their home and each other. "Remember," Captain Hunky said through the mental link, "we do not need to defeat them completely, just need to survive until help arrives." But as the enemy ships entered the atmosphere and began their attack, Nari realized that survival was going to be much harder than any of them had imagined. The Vorthok had been fighting wars across the galaxy for thousands of years. They had destroyed countless human colonies and eliminated entire species, but they had never faced humans and harmony singers. Fighting as one. The girl who spoke of the beast as kin was about to discover that her species is capable of much more than anyone had ever dreamed. The first Vorthok attack came like thunder from the sky. Black crystal ships fired beams of energy that turned rock into glass and metal into vapor. The colony's outer buildings disappeared in moments, but the colonists were not where the Vorthok expected them to be. Through their mental network, they had scattered to prepared positions with perfect timing. Every person knew exactly when to move and where to go. The enemy's first strike hit empty buildings. Now Captain Hunky thought through the network. The modified mining equipment opened fire. Explosive charges that should have been used for breaking rock were launched at the enemy ships. Drilling lasers that should have cut through stone sliced into alien holes. But the most surprising thing was how the colonists moved. They flowed around the battlefield like water, always in the right place at the right time.
Ow.
When Vorthok ground, troops landed, the humans were waiting for them. Young Dashmin piloted his small ship through the enemy formation, but he was not flying alone. Through the network, he had the reflexes of every other pilot, the tactical knowledge of Captain Hunky, and the spatial awareness of Kithra's species. He flew like no human had ever flown before. The Vorthok were confused. They had fought humans. Many times during the ancient war, humans were brave but disorganized. They made mistakes. They panicked. These humans were different. Nari crouched behind a barrier of crystal formations. coordinating the defense through her connection with Cathara. She could sense every enemy movement, every ally's position, every weapon status. But she could also sense something else. Other minds, far away, but getting closer. The signals Cathara had been sending were finally being answered. More harmony. Singers were coming. A Vorthok warrior made of living stone charged toward Nari's position. Its crystalline weapon could cut through metal like paper. In the old days, she would have been terrified and helpless. But now she was connected to 50 other people and a creature with centuries of combat experience. She moved with impossible grace, dodging the warrior's attacks while Teho flanked it from the side, was working together through the mental network. They brought down an enemy that should have been invincible. The battle raged for 2 hours. The Vorthok had superior weapons and numbers, but the humans had something the enemy could not understand or counter. Perfect unity. Every human moved as part of a larger plan. Every action supported every other action. There was no waste, no confusion, no fear that paralyzed them. But the colonists were still outnumbered, and their improvised weapons were failing. Nari could feel exhaustion spreading through the network as people reached their limits. Then the sky changed. 3 new ships appeared above the battlefield. But these were not Vorthok vessels. They were smooth and organic-looking, covered in the same bioluminescent patterns that decorated Kithra's skin. Harmony Singer ships, Nari whispered in amazement. The new arrivals joined the battle immediately. Their weapons were unlike anything Nari had ever seen. Instead of destructive energy beams, they fired pulses that seemed to confuse and disorient the Vorthok. But the most important change was in the mental network. 3 more Harmony Singers joined their connection, bringing with them the knowledge and skills of ancient warriors. Nari felt her awareness expand beyond anything she had thought possible. She was no longer just Nari, the lonely girl fixing broken machines. She was part of something greater, something that connected across species and across the stars. The tide of battle turned quickly after that. The Vorthok, faced with an enemy they could not understand or predict, began to retreat. Their rigid formations fell apart against an opponent that seemed to anticipate their every move. Captain Hunke, supported by the tactical knowledge of the Harmony Singers, coordinated a final assault that drove the remaining enemy ships away from the planet. As the last Vorthok vessel disappeared into hyperspace, the colonists slowly emerged from their fighting positions. The mental network was still active. The intensity had decreased to a gentle background presence. Nari walked over to Cathara, who was standing among the crystal formations where the battle had begun. The creature's bioluminescent markings were pulsing in complex patterns that felt like joy and relief. "You called them," she said. "Your people came to help." Cathara made musical sounds that the whole network could understand now. It was not just grateful for the rescue, it was happy to be reunited with its own kind after so many years of loneliness. But it was also saying something else. The network was not ending. The connection between humans and Harmony Singers would continue. Admiral Seong-ho arrived 3 days later with a fleet of Earth ships, expecting to find either a thriving colony or a field of ruins. Instead, he found something that changed everything he thought he knew about humanity's place in the galaxy. "Admiral, you need to see this," Captain Hunke said as he welcomed the newcomers. The Admiral watched in amazement as humans and Harmony Singers worked together to rebuild the damaged. But they were not just cooperating. They were functioning as a single organism, sharing thoughts and coordinating actions with impossible precision. How is this possible? Admiral Sujong-ho asked Dr. Borm, a xenobiologist from the fleet, was taking readings with her instruments. The neural connection appears to be completely voluntary and reversible. But the level of coordination is beyond anything we have ever documented. "It is not just coordination," Nari explained to the Admiral. "We are learning from each other. The Harmony Singers have knowledge from thousands of years of space travel. We have creativity and adaptability that amazes them. Together, we are more than either species could be alone." Young Jin Woo, one of the colony children, ran up to them with a small Harmony Singer following behind him. The alien creature was about his size, obviously a juvenile of its species. "This is my friend Vith," Jinwoo announced proudly. "It taught me how to sing the crystal songs." The boy and the young harmony singer hummed together, and the crystal formations around them began to glow in response. Admiral Seong-ho stared in wonder. They are forming natural bonds. The next generation will grow up thinking this is normal. Maybe it should be normal, Nari said. Maybe this is how it was supposed to be all along. Over the following weeks, more harmony singers emerged from hiding across human space. The ancient separation was ending as both species rediscovered their lost partnership. Colonies that had struggled for survival suddenly found themselves thriving as they learned to work with their new allies. Dangerous planets became safe. Possible projects became routine. But the most important change was not in what humanity could accomplish, it was in what humanity was becoming. Nari stood on the observation deck of the colony's new cultural center, watching children play in the gardens below. Human and harmony singer children played together as if there had never been any difference between them. Kathara joined her at the window. Bioluminescent patterns, calm and content. "Thank you, Nari," said quietly, "for trusting me when no one else would believe." Through their mental connection, Kathara shared feelings of gratitude and hope. But also something else. The creature that had searched the galaxy for over a century was finally home. Tae-Ho approached them, carrying a message pad. "The Earth Council wants to establish a new department," he said. "The Office of Interspecies Relations. They want you to run it." Nari looked at her brother in surprise. "Me? I am just a girl who fixes broken machines." "You were the girl who spoke of the beast as kin when none believed her," Tae-Ho replied with a smile. "We're the girl who proved that. Sometimes the monsters we fear are actually the family we forgot." Through the mental network that now connected colonies across dozens of worlds, Nari could sense the excitement and hope of both species as they built their future together. She was no longer the lonely girl on a distant mining planet. She was the bridge between worlds, the voice that had called humanity's lost family home, and she was exactly where she belonged. The girl who spoke of the beast, as Kin had shown the galaxy that family was not about species or appearance. Family was about standing together when everything seemed lost, fighting together when hope seemed impossible, never giving up on the ones you loved. In the end, the greatest discovery was not that humans were not alone in the universe, it was that they never had been.